What's up, everybody? It's Luke, and you're watching Luke the Gathering. Today, again, it's Friday, and I went to my local game store, and we got to draft Final Fantasy, which was just awesome. This set, I gotta say, I've been doing pretty well in both Arena, and I guess I can say live now, because at the store and in paper, I was 2-1 last week, and 3-0 this week with an epic third-round game in the final match to determine the winner of this week's tournament, and I got there. It was a great feeling, and I played a deck that I usually don't play in this format. My main colors that I love in Final Fantasy Draft Limited format is either black-red, blue-red, or a combination of those three, so Grixis would work. I love those colors, and I don't usually touch white unless I'm doing some sort of Boros deck, which is another deck that I sometimes do. I think my least drafted color that I touch is green in this draft, even though there's a lot of powerful green cards. I think Golgari is a very strong archetype in this format, but I rarely do it. And so, like, in the draft today, I was just passing off these amazing green cards to the person that was across from me. And guess what? That's who I had to play in the final round. So I knew I was up for it. And in fact, I thought I wasn't going to win because my deck was really about small balling it and little guys and being fast. And I thought if I have to get into a long game with this guy, I will not win. Just, it's not going to happen. But we played a very long game, and I came up on top, and it's because of one little innocuous card that I'll share with you when we get there. So, for prizing, I got 3 packs of Aether Drift. I could have chosen other things. It's not Final Fantasy. They weren't doing that for prizing because they're trying to save those packs for drafts, which I totally get at the store. So they have them kind of set aside for drafting. We could pick any other set. I picked Aether Drift just because, like I said last week, a lot of people don't like Aether Drift, but I think it's a fine set and I like it a lot. So I'm going to get that for prizing. But anyways, let's take a look at the deck I drafted. Alright, here we go. Let's check out the cards right now. First of all, we have Squall. This was not the card that got me into these colors. The second card is. You'll see it in just a second. But this card was definitely an all-star in the deck. Squall, this version, it's actually Danitha, Paragon, whatever, Capasulian. I can't even see that. It's so hard to see. It's right up there. But Danitha here, it's a reskin of Danitha. This only costs 2 and a white, and First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink, Aura, and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less. This card was amazing and incredible, especially if you put some equipment on this card. It became so hard to beat me. This was just a phenomenal card. I loved playing this card. My first pick of the draft was actually this Squall. So this was actually a Squall deck. Squall Seed Mercenary. I had this card played against me once, and it was just a tank, because what it did was, first of all, when it attacks alone, you get double strike. When any creature attacks alone, they get double strike. But when Squall deals combat damage to a player, I get to return a target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. And so that's just an incredibly crazy and strong ability. Super cool. That means on like a double strike, you get to get 2 things back if they're in the graveyard. That's crazy. So I thought I might build a little bit around this guy if I can. I was able to pick up 2 Insomnia Crown Cities, which is the black-white dual land. Battle Menu. This was a great card. This did a lot of things. In one game, I made a 2/2 white knight, and that knight, I equipped it with a dark sword, and it was just swinging for 5 a turn when one of my opponents didn't have a board state, and this came down really early. Also, this destroys creatures with power 4 or greater, which is great because one of the final matches, I was playing somebody who had just a bunch of 8/8s, 6/6s, trampling, 7/7. It was just nuts. And this is one of the cards that helped me make it through that matchup. Primal Garuda is cool. This actually deals 4 damage to target tapped creature an opponent controls. That bit of text is not as easy as it sounds. A lot of times I was like, I hope they have a tapped creature, and they didn't. Felt great when they did, but it sucked when I had to play this, and they didn't. But this worked okay. Another target creature you control gets +1/+0, gains flying till the end of turn. That ability actually became pretty useful. So that's cool. Cornered by Black Mages. This is just part of my removal package. Maybe not the best removal, but this was pretty good, especially if I was just removing and removing and removing. It was pretty sweet. Another great removal is Vane's Treachery. Sometimes against this final deck that I played, that's -6/-6 just wasn't good enough, surprisingly. 3, Sephiroth's Interventions. This was a key card to help me win. This is, I think, one of the best removals in the game. Gains you 2 life as well. That was huge for me to keep me in it. Love this card. Glad I had 3 of them. So you can see that this is a very removal-heavy deck. Slash of Light, also a great card, especially when you go wide. Most of my creatures are on the lesser mana value, so getting more creatures out. And equipment. This also counts equipment was huge. Speaking of equipment, a couple White Mage's Staff. Again, this counts for 2 for Slash of Light, because the body and the equipment. Paladin's Arms was great for me. Magitech Armor, unfortunately, this wasn't equipment, so it did do some work, especially helping me play a little bit defense today, but didn't do a whole lot. Dark Knight's Greatsword is awesome. I love this. You can equip by paying 3 life. That's really cool. And then you can only do that once per turn. But I had this down on turn 3, I think, with a 2/2 Knight from the battle menu, and then I paid 3 life, going down to 17. That thing became a 5/5, and it basically got them down to about 5 before they could even blink an eye, which was awesome. Ambrosia Whiteheart. This is a chocobo that like returns cards back to your hand, bounces them. This is great when you need to save creatures. I did this to block like Diamond Weapon and then bounce them back to my hand and play them again. Really cool stuff you can do with that. Albed Salvagers, again, another little plinky damage thing. Whenever a creature you control dies, or an artifact, your opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Weapons Vendor was better than I thought it would be in this particular set of games. I don't like that it's 4 for a 2/2, but you do get a draw card. And making the equipment like just cost 1 is really a good deal. So this was great for me. And actually in my final games, they kept bouncing this card with Leviathan, and I kept being able to draw. That was cool. Evil Reawakened was awesome. This made the Squall, that's 2/2, 4/4, and it was just very hard to deal with once it came back from the graveyard. You Are Not Alone. I used this on the +4/+4 mode to surprise win a game, which was a lot of fun. The Final Days, this is a really nice card. Just kind of builds out your board. I didn't ever flash it back and try to get a whole bunch of things flooding the board, but getting the 2 horrors is pretty nice. And my all-star of all-stars today was Coeurl. My goodness. It costs 2 to tap things down, and that seems like a little bit expensive for a card like this, but let me tell you, I was staring down like a 6/6, a 7/7, an 8/8 to tap one down, tap the trampler guy, like that big dinosaur, and then to like chump the other 2 or take one and chump the other 2 was huge. This card single-handedly won me the entire tournament on that last game, and man, this was good. I mean, tapping things down is always great, especially when you're trying to be a little bit more aggressive. You know, if they're only able to play 1 or 2 things a turn, this is also really helpful. I was able to just eke myself into that last victory, and it was all with the help of Coeurl. Alright, let's just open up these Aether Drift packs and see if we get anything good out of them. Aether Draft, much maligned, disliked set. Grim Bauble, that was one of my favorite cards out of that set. Broken Wings. Ride's End, also a nice comment out of that set. Back on track, very cool. And then Burnout Bastronaut. 1 drop here. Is the rare Spell Pierce. Okay. That was not the best pack ever. Let's go to pack number 2. See if I can widen out just a little bit. Maximum Overdrive. I like that card. Run Over was good. Rambler was a big card back then. Trip Up was Sloth is great. Stock Up is great. Web Strike Elite is the rare. And we have one more pack to open up for our prizing. I played a lot of the set. That's why a lot of these cards bring up some great memories for me. Broodheart Engine, that's a cool one. Here we go. Crypt Caller Chariot, the rare, double rare, Waxen Shaper Thief. Collision Course, and there you have it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you're enjoying Final Fantasy like I am, and I will see you next time.